It wasn't his occupation, it wasn't his job, it was his being. That's what it was. Biology and science was Lauren Brown.
When he arrived at Carroll, he knew that he wanted to work with animals, and he knew that he wanted to do research. Through the close association with his professors, they gave him the base for solid research of questioning and studying and doing the legwork, the critical, hard work of research from the start.
He was always thinking, always trying to answer questions about nature. It's just, out walking every day on his farm, he would look for interesting phenomena.
The farm had 15 acres in farmland, but the rest was wooded, and then there was a little home site. And most of my youth was spent in the woods, exploring nature. What he instilled in myself and my sisters is a real sense of love for the world around us and of inquiry, and that there's real joy in discovery of that nature.
He was interested in frogs, but in a sense, in toads, but in a sense, not in because of themselves so much as what they told us, or using them as models to understand evolutionary principles.
I remember when I was very young, in an alcove off the side of his main office, there was a large row of cabinets, and in there were the preserved skeletons of, I'd say, easily a few thousand different reptiles and amphibians, all labeled very specifically with date of origin, location, everything like that, species. So that preservation was vital to having accurate research and accurate results in any study that they were used in. Hopefully, now that they'll be going to the Field Museum, that'll allow for many more generations to utilize these specimens. Many of the items also stay with Illinois State.
The work that he did laid a foundation for a lot of for a big increase in our knowledge in evolutionary biology in general.
He advised so many different organizations too. Illinois Natural History Survey. He did a lot of work for them advising. Illinois Department of Transportation, I mentioned about his field work there to making sure that endangered species weren't eradicated by the new highways going in.
As an educator, his comparative anatomy course was always full, and he had to open more sections always throughout his whole career.
I think this might even be attributable back to his undergraduate to a great degree. It was very much hands-on. Get out there, do the work, do it well, and then be amazed by the glory of what you've done.
He immersed them into a biological situation, usually long outside the building.
Spent a number of evenings during the course of the semester out at his farm where he lived in order to report on subjects that he'd assigned to us, and read our reports, and then argue our position with the rest of the class, which was made up of both graduates and undergraduates. And so it was a tense situation, but we learned a lot from the experience.
He wouldn't publish or wouldn't take authorship on his students' publications, even though it was his lab, his ideas. He would help students write up, but he wouldn't, he took a back seat and let them be the primary author, corresponding author on their theses and work. So that 200 publication number is grossly under the real amount.
I think he would also argue that one of the pinnacles of what he has done beyond his publications, which were up there, was his graduate students. He was so very proud of every single one of them. In his office, he has one entire row dedicated just to theses and dissertations of his students.
I think he saw that as part of his mission in his career, was to help others that had similar interests. After he retired and I retired, we got back together as not only friends but colleagues, and worked and actually published half a dozen papers or so after he retired and before his death. He never really wanted to retire in terms of his research, and he didn't. He worked up to the very end.
When he heard that he had received this award, he called me up right away, and likely was in tears. It's tough to tell over the phone. This award meant so very, very much to him. He was very, very grateful, not only for the award, but perhaps more so for the quality education he received at Carroll University.